day, beautiful people of the South. I have just landed straight coming from Free State right now. Literally, I just put my bags down. I just prepared myself something nice to eat, and I said, let me press record. And of course, everybody wants to talk about Senzo. I'm here to catch up because yesterday I was on the road going up and down, going to apply for an ID for my son, and only to find out that the lie, a fraud of an FNB bank that is only good by money laundering. I've made a booking online, and after making a booking online, I've identified a place and a bank which I wanted to go to. Then I arrived there only to find out that they say that, or no, that place do not do ID application. Mind you, I have to travel all the way from Johannesburg to Heidelberg. My son has to travel all the way from Villiers to Heidelberg. So he traveled almost 48 kilometers. I traveled all the way almost 40 kilometers together just to be told, or no, those services are not there. This is despite me having a reference number. It was neither here or there because I literally had to take another transport, come back to Joburg. And as I walked into Department of Home Affairs, I was told that there are no longer walk-ins in Department of Home Affairs. To understand me, no longer walk-ins in Department of Home Affairs. What you need to do is to book online. If you are about to apply for an ID for yourself, for your brother, or you are going to renew it, please know that you are no longer doing a walk-in. You need to apply online and book a slot and a branch, and then when you go there, you're gonna have yourself that particular reference number. This may be something information that you might know, which I did not know. I had to spend so much money that I have to go up and down that I did not budgeted for. But for the fact that my finances are good, I could be able to do all those trips together. And finally, I had to take my son back to Free State, and I'm back again in Joburg because I'm doing night shift today. So I'm not angry. I'm just sharing that particular story that you know that right now Home Affairs have improved systems. You need to book first online before you can go. So we will see if I go there at the end of the month that this booking system of theirs work and how effective it is. So yeah, that's that. But what was on my mind when I was in the border of Free State coming to Johannesburg, I heard that Putco has halted its services. Yes. Did I welcome you? Did I even say my name is Mohawkwebu? Welcome to the Banter with Mohawkwebu. You can like, subscribe, and share. Did I say those things? Well, I suppose I was just, coming down and everything. So I heard that Putco has shut its services from this particular week, claiming that they do not have diesel, and they told the Department of Transport about this 3 weeks ago, and right now they were at their wits end. People, those who are using Putco and those who are not familiar what Putco it is, because I know I'm not only talking to people who are staying in Gauteng. People who are staying in different provinces might not know what Putco is. Putco is a government subsidized bus service that is used by a lot of public. The fares, the bus fare is quite lower compared to the taxi. And those people who know, Putco has been in services in the early 90s. Others might argue to say Putco has been in services as early as in the 80s. It used to operate, or it mostly operates in black communities where passengers are subsidized. You pay a much lower fee to go to different places. So when I was listening to 702, it was a show of Clement Manyatela who was talking to different parties. First, he spoken to the higher person in Putco to explain this thing, to say that Putco has went and explained to the Department of Transport to say, guys, actually they did that 3 weeks ago, to say, guys, we are now dipping into our reserves. We no longer have enough diesel to be able to be transporting people around. Please help us. And they also mentioned that in the past year, petrol or diesel has rise up from 110%. What's the type of figure that they say. But the type of subsidy that they've been receiving from government for the past 12 years has not increased at all. So those were the challenges that they're facing, and they say that the department has not been playing ball. So what we also understand is that the fact that the government has not given them their subsidy yet is part of the reason why they don't have the requisite diesel in their tanks right now. But most importantly, you should know that the financial year of government starts in April 1st. So it means that at the end of March, this particular company called Putco had already ran out of diesel, and they went and complained to the government to say, guys, we need you guys to help us. How? They need the government to pay them in advance for services that they have not done. I'm not sure how many millions that they are receiving, but I know that they are receiving a public transport government grant that allows them to be able to transport people to different places in a much lower price. There's a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people personally in Gauteng that depend on it. Other people, they use Putco as far as Vereeniging, others from Kwandebele that are using Putco. But mind you, after this, Clement spoken to the spokesperson of the transport department and said that Putco might be ingenious in not in saying that they have or they do not have diesel to transport people. As I'm talking to you right now, there are no Putco buses on the road. People who go there, so Putco has a different way in which that they sell their tickets. They don't only sell daily tickets, they also sell weekly tickets, and they also sell monthly tickets. That means that if you are buying monthly, a daily trip, when you buy it in a bulk and monthly, you get to spend much lesser. So people would buy in advance for the trips so that they will be able to save much more money in their transport. I used Putco at one point of my life, and I'll tell you the experience that I had. But to summarize it all, it was terrible. So let's go back to the spokesperson of transport who was speaking to Clement to say that Putco is receiving 70% of their operational cost as a grant from the government, meaning that they don't even have to pay it back. And 25% of what they're receiving, they also, even after receiving that particular millions from the government, they also have the gate takings, meaning that the tickets that they are selling to the public, they also they are receiving that. So whatever, that means that they're receiving money left and right from the government and from the commuter on this other side. Why is it that at this particular year, because the delay in terms of grant being paid to Putco, it's not just happening this year. For the past 3 years, the government had to reform and do things differently, because the Auditor General, when it goes and makes its finding, they would find that paying a supplier in advance for services that are not rendered yet would count negatively in the finances of the city in that particular way. So now the government is saying, now we will have to wait up until the financial year begins. That's when we could be able to be sending you money. So at this particular point, today as we speak, it is actually Thursday. They say the money that has been sent to Putco will only clear on Monday, meaning that commuters are going to be stranded for this particular week up until next week Monday. And when the money clears in Putco, according to the manager, they can only be able to pay suppliers on Monday, and petrol can only be delivered to Putco on Tuesday, meaning that people will have an extended day where in which that they will be able to use this. But what it was most interesting that came from the Department of Transport was Putco has been in operation for over 20 years. How is it? And Putco is not the only bus company that is being subsidized by the government, and all these other companies that has been subsidized by the government are in operations right now. They are not complaining about diesel, they are in operations. And why is it that Putco cannot use the 25% they are getting from receiving money from the computers to buy diesel only for a week? Which I find it very legitimate to be able to say so. What I know, and for those people who are staying in Gauteng, they will let you know, there is no highway that is not littered with Putco buses that are broken down. And this has been for years. Putco has been receiving a large chunk of money from the government. They actually are a monopoly. So the reason why Putco is behaving like this, according to the spokesperson of transport, is saying that government is trying to end the contract. Actually, the contract of Putco and government is coming to an end in 2 months. So the government is trying to break this monopoly that Putco, you've been having long-term contracts